Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're here to discuss a truly jarring turn in 2025. And truly, people talk about the 2025 bingo card, and honestly, I don't even want a fucking bingo card anymore because I could not predict half of the shit that's going on. And honestly, if I could, I'd probably be riddled with anxiety. So you know what? Fuck bingo in 2025. A lot of people were claiming this was not on their little bingo card, and honestly, I couldn't have predicted this. Mainly because I would never want something like this to happen. Casey Anthony posted a video on TikTok, and I really do think we've entered a realm that is so surreal. Initially, I was quite speechless and I thought it was a joke. Before we get into the TikTok, let's give some context. Casey Anthony, one of America's most hated women, rebrands herself as civil rights advocate to oppose Trump. So already here we have something very interesting because a murderer posing as a civil rights advocate is a murderer who's in denial about being a murderer of her own child. So, all right. Welcome to the resistance, Casey Anthony, the infamous alleged homewrecker and murder suspect who was acquitted in the death of her 2-year-old daughter. One of the most hated women in America is rebranding herself as a legal advocate for women and LGBTQ people. And it's all because she dislikes President Trump, a friend tells the Post. And then it goes on to quote the TikTok. So I'm going to show you the TikTok, but let's just recapitulate a second because when I saw the TikTok, I did not know it had anything to do with Trump at all. So you murdered your kid. Now you're rebranding as a legal advocate for women and LGBTQ people. And this is because of Trump. Listen, I'm not really sure I fully understand the logic there. I think personally you're rebranding because you're realizing that you kind of gotta, because right now you're basically baby killer. And I'm sorry to break it to you, you will never rebrand. There is no such thing as you rebranding. You could change your name, change your hair, live in a different state. People might not recognize you, but you still know you're Casey Anthony and you still know that you're fucking hiding. So anyway, let's look at the TikTok, shall we? Oh, and since the original TikTok, she posted 2 other TikToks, which are so truly delusional that I genuinely had to reread them a couple of times being like, are you fucking serious? So
today is Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011. And in this capacity, I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Casey Anthony. My daughter is Kaylee Anthony. My parents are George and Cindy Anthony. This is not about them. This is not in response to anything that they have said or done. That's not to say that I'm not going to respond at some point to some of the things that they have said and done. The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself. I'm doing this both personally for me, but in a professional capacity. Moving forward, the majority of what you will see will be me speaking in a professional capacity. My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people, to give people tools and resources that they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to. So with that, please join me on Substack. If you have questions, I will set up an email address where we can correspond directly. Up until this point, that has never happened. And it's only going to be on a limited basis regarding legal issues, legal matters. One of the main reasons that I'm doing this, there are people close to me who have been targeted and attacked recently. There are also people close to me who have had some recent things occur. And when necessary, people needed to step up, myself included. So as a proponent for the LGBTQ community, for our legal community, women's rights, I feel that it's important that I use this platform that was thrust upon me and now look at as a blessing as opposed to the curse that it has been since 2008. With that, these aren't going to be perfect. They're not going to be edited. Most of the time, they're not going to be short. But I am proverbially standing in the light, embracing this piece, still going to keep my privacy intact. So you will get very comfortable with my car, and I will explain in great detail why it's so important for people to protect their privacy. It's not just important to public figures, it's even more important to private individuals. And with the current climate in our country especially, it's that much more important, which is why I am utilizing the Substack platform. Yes, I am advertising this and publishing this on TikTok, possibly also through other meta platforms, but my intention is to separate from that and showcase even more why Substack is such an important resource for people to utilize moving forward. Anyway, I appreciate your time, and we'll see how this goes.
She refers to 2008, right? Now, I think most of us here are familiar with the Casey Anthony case, mainly because it's just such a massive, massive case in US history. It was so messy, so discombobulating at times, so confusing, yet very obvious. Obvious in the sense that Casey Anthony, in my opinion, and in many other people's opinion, is guilty because of some really weird fucking behavior. Anyway, keep in mind what she said on the TikTok, okay? Like being an advocate and helping people and, her being into legal shit since 2011. Let's rewind to 2008 for a second so you can think about what she just said with a reminder of the context of who Casey Anthony is. That reference of 2008 is when Anthony's daughter went missing outside Orlando. Kaylee hadn't been seen for more than a month before her panicked grandparents called the cops. The little girl's remains were finally found wrapped in duct tape inside a laundry bag a few months later. While Kaylee was missing, her mom, Casey Anthony, was spotted clubbing around the city and dancing on tables instead of looking for her daughter. Anthony was charged with first-degree murder but acquitted in July 2011. A friend close to the 38-year-old Anthony tells the Post that Anthony was motivated to act because of President Trump. She's appalled, the insider says. She wants to speak up for many people who don't have a voice. She's got a lot of friends in the gay community, and she wants to use their influence to help. She's got a voice, and maybe she can stand up for other people. She wants to fight Trump, the insider continues. She figures she can either be angry or she can be a Trump-hating advocate for others. She'll use her influence to resist. So I'm going to be clear about something right now. I don't care to comment on the politics here because really what we're talking about is a murder, and that is my central point of focus. Now, even if she decided to donate $10 million to whatever association that I'm in favor for, to whatever candidate, whatever, if I could even vote in the states, like, even if she did that, we return to point A. You are a murderer, okay? So whatever you choose to do is automatically tainted by that. Even people on Twitter were saying, fuck political division. Like, we can all agree this is not the person we want representing anyone in any capacity for anything ever. Genuinely, no. She could decide to be a nail tech. I still would not want anything to fucking do with you, let alone you going into being a quote unquote advocate and trying to quote unquote resist Trump. Like, you have a bigger problem at hand, and that bigger problem is that I don't know anyone who believes she's innocent. So I'm going to say most people, at least in my circle, the people I know of and the people I see on the internet, believe you are a child killer. Your child killer. So whatever endeavor you go after is automatically tainted by that. No matter how good your intentions may be now, which is already questionable in and of itself because, again, child killer. I really don't think this is the trajectory you should take. And honestly, if I were to give Casey Anthony advice, I would say turn yourself in and go to jail. But if I had to give her advice on life, I would say probably do this advocate shit not in the spotlight. I'm just saying, I would say that probably staying away from the media is your best bet. It's probably going to make you money quickly, which again is the point because I don't really believe that she actually cares about being an advocate. I'm sorry, I don't take anything a murderer, let alone a child murderer, says seriously. So if you don't have empathy for your own child, I'm supposed to believe you have empathy for random people you don't know? that you're allegedly going to correspond via email with? Nah. Sorry. No, I'm not buying it. Anthony's murder trial was a media circus with an estimated 40 million Americans watching at least part of the trial. The jaw-dropping not guilty verdict was viewed by nearly 100 million people worldwide. Anthony has continued to stay in the public eye, most recently moving in with a married father of 2, causing him to blow up his marriage of 22 years, a source told the Post last fall. So by no means is this the most egregious thing she's done. But again, the character destruction, her own character destruction just continues. This is also another reason why when you go to quote unquote resist Trump or to be an advocate or whatever, you also have to embody what you're trying to help people with, right? If you go to talk to a priest, you want someone who embodies whatever tenets of your religion, right? Whether it's the 10 Commandments or whatever else, right? You're not going to go to a priest who murdered someone and is a rapist, are you? No. Why? Because they do not embody what the job requires. Same thing here. She does not embody what the job requires, let alone the fact that I don't really know about her certifications or accreditations or whatever the fuck you need to be a legal advocate. I don't know what the requirements are. But does she even have those? My question also is, are you a legal advocate because you were in legal trouble for murdering your child and that's why you think you know a lot about the law? Like what steps were taken here? That would have been useful to know in your TikTok video. Tell us why we should trust you with anything. Putting aside the little detail that you murdered your kid, why should anyone trust you? What do you have to show for it? Do you have degrees? Do you have something to show for it? Or is it just you on the internet looking shit up? Like what are you doing? Usually if you want people to trust you with a job, you'll tell them why you're qualified. Anyway. But Anthony wants to change the public perception of her by offering her words unfiltered to the masses, but she will not share everything about her life. And then it just goes on to quote the video again. This isn't a bad reputation. This isn't high school. This isn't once you get to 11th grade, things are going to be different. No. Nothing's going to change. You cannot repair it. You made a choice and you are stuck there forever. Nothing will ever change about how people perceive you. Let me be clear about that. Since that TikTok, she posted 2 other TikToks, which I think are some of the most delusional things I've ever seen in my life. So let's look at that. The presumption of innocence is a sacred right afforded to all individuals arrested in this country. That is not an opinion, it is a fact. We are plagued by a rush to judgment before someone even steps foot into a courtroom. Once a verdict is read, however long the process takes, the public must trust that the system worked the way it was intended. You're entitled to your opinions, not your own set of facts. You, as the general public, will never know the full facts of a case. The media will never tell you the full truth. They will tell you what you think and how to feel. Educate yourselves, stop spreading hate. If tomorrow you woke up and were arrested, accused of a crime you didn't commit, or someone close to you were to be, wouldn't you want them to be treated fairly and just? It's not that complicated. So I'm going to say right now, the vibe of this post is giving very much woe is me. It's giving woe is me, and honestly, you can't do that when you're a child killer, so we can knock that off. Aside from that, let us recall, you don't need to know the full facts about Casey Anthony's case. I think you should look into it to come to a full conclusion. I'm just gonna say this. Your kid is missing for over a month because allegedly the nanny kidnapped your kid, and for that full month, you never called the police. Your kid's been kidnapped. You haven't seen her for a month, and you don't call the police. That alone should be the biggest red flag existing in the universe. Now, bringing that a step further, not only do you not call the police, the only reason the police is ever called is because your parents, your kid's grandparents, freak the fuck out when they find out, as any regular human would, and they call the cops. Just with this information alone, what can you surmise? How high on the priority list was your daughter when you were out clubbing while she was missing? Can you explain that to me? Can you give me a concrete, logical explanation of why that is? Because if you cannot, which you can't, because there is no logical explanation because what you did defies any rule of morality or logic. But anyway, You do not get to act like woe is me and like it was an unfair trial. First of all, because you went free, which is insane, but there's a lot to be said about the police work that was done and the evidence collection. I'm not going to get into it, but you cannot come on the internet and act like a victim. I'm sorry, it's really not happening. We're not doing that today. Anyway, she subsequently posted another TikTok since this first one wasn't enough. This one says, "It has been more than 16 years since my name became a household one. Everyone seems to have an opinion about me and my life. I'm an advocate, a researcher." This is also a thing, and this is where I'm going to be nitpicky. I really do not like when people give themselves titles that they did not earn. What makes you a researcher? Like, in what capacity are you a researcher? Have you published academic journals? What makes you a researcher? That's the thing about this also that hits me as extremely weird, is that she's positing herself in this position of authority. And it's like, okay, can you give us something concrete? Like, did you have peer-reviewed work? Did you do your research with someone or an institution? Like, what research? Like, all of this is extremely nebulous, which is what makes it more suspicious to me, because it's like, none of this reads as real. Because I could sit here and say, hey guys, just so you know, I'm a physicist and I'm going to tell you about physics. Would you not ask me where I went to school, if I have a degree, what kind of degree, what I'm specialized in? Would you not want further detailing other than I'm a researcher in physics, according to me? Throughout these years, I've dedicated myself to uncovering truths and making a difference. My journey has been filled with challenges and triumphs, but my commitment to my cause has never wavered. I strive to inspire and create positive change in the world. Do you see why it's hard to take this seriously? I, to a degree, believe that certain types of criminals can be reformed, to a degree. I don't believe it for pedophiles. I don't believe it for child killers. For a lot of murderers, actually, I just don't believe in that there's such a thing as being rehabilitated, depending on the circumstances of the murder. But anyway, in this case, there's no coming back for you. For me, it's done. There's absolutely nothing in the world you can do to get a better reputation, which seems like your main goal anyway. I don't know. The advocacy to me here seems like it's a secondary goal. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. I honestly really did not see this coming. I was just kind of hoping she'd stay in the darkness and just we could all keep going with our lives, forgetting what a heinous human being she is. I guess we'll see where this goes. I really genuinely do not think being on a social media platform for her is a particularly good idea, because realistically, whether you like her or not, she's gonna get harassed like to insane degrees. If I were her, additionally, I'd also be concerned about getting doxxed. There's so many things I'd be concerned about, and especially when she says that her people close to her have been targeted. Why aren't you helping them off social media? Because if they've been targeted, now you're on social media, you really don't think your family and whoever else is close to you isn't going to be targeted again now that you're putting yourself in the limelight? So I'm also thinking about the effect this is going to have on anyone and everyone around her. But I digress. I guess she can just hang with the married father that she home-wrecked. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.